Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. So we're just going to do another Velocity Banking review. Now, before we get started, I just want to show you how much people have been watching this channel. So YouTube likes to gamify your achievements. So when I logged into my YouTube dashboard, it phrase like new achievement, you're crushing it. And so we racked up 50,000 hours of watch time. 50,000. So if you just do the math, that's over 5.7 years. A lot of people watching this channel. A lot of people watching this channel. I'm making 300, 500 a month just on ad revenue alone. That's crazy. I never would have dreamed that. I thought like you had to have like millions of views just to get like a couple hundred bucks. I don't know. Well, I don't know how it works, but it's like, whoa, I don't even get that many views. But because people who watch it are so addicted, and again, maybe I should tell people or make a video how I'm like a velocity banking crack dealer, and you're all my crack addicts, right? Uh, YouTube knows that. YouTube like recognize like, hey, a lot of people are watching your channel, and so we're gonna take it all the way up to the bank, right? Add this, whatever money we get from the YouTube channel, just put it into a line of credit like we talked about in velocity banking. All right, let's get to it. So velocity banking, what is it? All it is a debt payoff strategy using a line of credit as your main operating account. And a lot of people out there are broken stressed. I don't know if you knew this or not, but you ever step outside your house and maybe you're at a point in position in life where you got plenty of money, where it's like, oh, money's no problem. And one of the things that you'll notice is that as you step outside your house, most people aren't mentally there. They're not mentally there because they're broken stressed, right? I mean, how many videos have you seen on YouTube where it's like TikTok compilations of people who are just freaking out because they can't afford anything? Tons of people like that. And what is one of the biggest reasons is because they got debt. They have debt. So what we have to do is we relieve the stress by paying off the debt. And hey, if you don't have that much debt, relatively that much debt, kind of like me, I just do these exercises kind of form of like a way to relieve my stress, right? I'm going to relieve my stress by doing these exercises so I can just kind of internalize just how easy it is to pay off debt. If I ever get into debt again, and who knows, I might in the near future, I have nothing to worry about, right? So, if you want to know how I create these velocity banking spreadsheets, it's really easy. You just do a budget and income, expenses, and leftover savings. I have literally had people email me acting like it is the biggest deal in the world for them to create this, and I'm just like face palming. And again, how do you get good at anything? Just do it over and over again. Why does this channel make money? Is because I just make YouTube videos like pretty much the same ones over and over again. Remember that Bruce Lee quote where he's like, I fear the man who does one kick 10,000 times rather than 10,000 kicks once. But people just like, I don't want to put any effort into it. And I'm like, oh, and then you wonder why you're broke, right? You wonder why you're broke because you're not doing your one kick 10,000 times, right? And some people are like, well, we'll do my numbers, and like, no, just do average numbers. You'll get the concept, and then you'll apply it to your own situation. Just like I don't have to read and memorize a book in order for me to read it, if that makes sense. What I need to know is like the basics, the foundation, the alphabet, some basic words, right? And then I can read almost any single book rather than just be tied to a specific book and have it read it from memory. If you know how learning language works, you need to build a foundation. And a lot of people, this is why they're very poor language learners, is because they just memorize a couple of words and that's pretty much it, right? All right, so let's get to it. So let's do this and income, expenses, leftover savings. We got 10 credit card or 9 credit cards, an auto, two auto loans, and a student loan and a mortgage. So here's the thing. Let's say you want to do a different situation. You figured out like, hey, like I got this velocity banking stuff down for this situation, but I want to create a different scenario. Then you can easily do that by just duplicating the sheet, right? You see right here how it got duplicated. And then, playing around with the numbers. So I always like to play around with the expenses first, right? And then kind of work backwards. So for example, let's say I don't want 2 auto loans. Well, I just got, or maybe I just do one auto loan, or I kind of do this one. So instead of 45, I do like 25 and then 22, right? 22. And then if I'm going to do credit cards and I don't want like 9 credit cards, then I just take a couple of them out, like this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. All right. And then I delete them. How do I delete these? I don't even know how to delete these. What am I doing? Right, let me just try this. delete, delete. All right, and then delete, right? So how much is this? I don't even know. And then we got to relabel these two. Credit card 1, and let me zoom in so that y'all can see a little bit better, right? Zoom in. Okay, credit card 1, credit card 2, credit card 3, credit card 4, credit card. I can't do it. Okay, 5. This is like mental therapy, right? When you're stressed. See, here's the thing. You know where my stress comes from? It doesn't even come from like my own situation. It just comes from dealing with other people and then them acting like whatever you do, like talk about, like it's impossible. You can't do this, even though you've done it like 100 times over. That's where a lot of my stress comes from, believe it or not. So, all right, so we have 5 credit cards, and then we have, well, instead of 40K auto loans, we have 25, and then student loan. Should we live it at 55? I don't know. Maybe we should, right? And then mortgage. So let's say instead of 220, we do like 200, and then at 6%, right? We could do that, and then we just, and then again, this figure depends on you, right? So sometimes when I have too much leftover money, I like kind of spend it on video games, but the thing about video games is I don't really have that much time to play it. So it's almost like I probably could decrease this number, but let's see where this goes. And then another thing that we have to do is update our loan figures, right? So we have our loan calculator right here. Okay. And then what we got to do is update these figures 25,000, 22,000, 55, 200. Okay, so this is 6%, 6.1, 6.3, and then it spits out a payment amount. Let me redo this. But don't focus too much on this part, right? Yeah, so let me just go back here. I'm going to replace these numbers, control, values only, and then let's see how much income we have. So $10,000 of income. So even though we reduced the number of credit cards, we reduced the loan amounts for the auto, and we also reduced the mortgage, but then higher the interest rate. We see that we still have a lot of payments, but let's just kind of do 8,500, right? And then this is what I like to play around with. So I start backwards by doing my expense breakdown first, kind of doing credit cards. I mean, there's only a certain number, like limited number of debts that one can have, right? Credit cards, personal loans, auto, student, mortgage. I mean, what else is there, right? Maybe a line of credit if you used it wrong, okay? Now, here's the thing that's always unrealistic after doing the budget is pretending that we have a free and clear line of credit, right? That's not possible when you only have $164 left over. And that's the thing that when it comes to financial literacy is we have to understand how banks work and who do they lend to. They lend to people who don't need money. That's how banks work. Banks don't lend money to people who need it. And so, I always show off my lines of credit here and whatever the bank is lending me. I got over $575,000 in lines of credit. $575,000. Who has that? Very few people. Very few people. They're like really proud of their $5,000 credit card. No offense to you if you have a $5,000 credit card. What I'm saying is that there's a next level that you can go up to that most people don't realize, right? And I remember a long time ago, once upon a time, I had like a $5,000 credit card. And I was like, that is so much. And then when someone told me I could get like a credit limit increase, I was like, you can do that? Like, did you ever have that moment when you first learned about that? I was like, why would they increase your credit limit? And then you realize, oh, you're actually doing the bank a favor by taking out the credit, not the other way around, right? It's a mind shift mind shift set. Is that how you say it? I don't even know. We'll just assume I said the words that I thought I wanted to say. All right. So again, how do I get this line of credit? Because the bank was like, you don't need money. Why? Because I got paid off my mortgage under 3 years. First lien position mortgage under 3 years, right? So okay, we're gonna assume that we have a line of credit, home equity line of credit, because we have plenty of equity in our mortgage and I'm sorry, plenty of equity in our home, and we'll just make it similar to the amount of credit card debt that we have. Now, some people are like, well, can you do it without a free and clear or a small limit line of credit? And, that's what the paid membership is for, because we had a live stream that we did, I think 2 months ago, where their line of credit was like 18 grand and maxed out, and the person had 22 debts. It was insane. Like normally I don't take those requests because, I figured like, hey, you probably should know how to do this, but the person did the spreadsheet and made an effort, just wanted me to confirm the numbers. And I said, all right, yeah, you made the effort, right? Proud of you. So let's just do 1110000 as the line of credit. And again, people like look at this and like, that's so unrealistic. And it's like, well, it's unrealistic to you. And I'm going to be a little bit harsher because you got a loser attitude. Once you get what's it called? More success, especially if you started from nothing. Like you probably look at my like tax returns or the amount of money that I made for like 10 years back when I was younger. You'd be like shocked, like how did you even survive? And mostly it was because I lived with my parents for a while and I didn't do anything because I was just like severely, ugh, I'm over it, right? I'm over it. Another thing is that I tried to make it on my own and I didn't know what I was doing. And, a lot of forces out there to keep you down, much more than you think there would be. Like, you think, like, how do people survive in this society when nobody really helps each other out? And I hate to brag. Well, actually, I don't hate to brag. I'm going to brag. I'm one of the very few people out there who actually helps other people. Like I'm gonna be honest, like very few people out there help. They just say that they're gonna the type of society that we live in is the one where it's like, hey, I say I'm gonna do something and I don't do it, and then when you follow up with them, they act like you're crazy for following up with them. But you said you were gonna do this. Like, what? Like, and then like you took my $10,000 credit card. Like, what? That's just how people are. So you gotta be careful. Banks know that too. That's why they don't um, lend credit to almost like 90% of the population because they know that 90% of the population are a big risk. We'll say that, right? All right, so let's go ahead and do this velocity banking side. And again, velocity banking is a debt payoff strategy using a line of credit as your main operating account. So in order to do velocity banking, we just copy and paste these numbers. And the big thing that gets people, right, is you see this is the savings line. So now if you go click here and do this, then it's zero. Okay, it's zero. And a lot of people freak out about that, but it's okay if it's zero because you got the line of credit, which will essentially act as your emergency savings if you need it. The thing is that people delay their debt payoff because they gotta save 3 to 6 months of savings. And again, the order in which you do things is incredibly important. This is why, like in other videos where I talked about why the first lien HELOC is bad, it's because you're paying off debt in the wrong order. You could do a second lien HELOC and then refinance over and over again. And usually banks don't charge anything, closing costs anything if you meet their certain terms and conditions. And I had two HELOCs where they charge absolutely nothing. My last HELOC, they said, hey, we're not going to charge you anything unless you get a $10,000 first draw, right? Okay, $10,000 draw, and then I could just put the money back. So whoop-de-doo, right? Okay, so let's go ahead. We did this. And then now, this is what we're going to do, right? So close this. All right, so the next month's balance is the previous month's balance plus the previous month's interest minus whatever our cash flow is. So what our cash flow is, oh shoot, we need to optimize this cash flow because this cash flow is the same, okay, as the savings right here. But when we move some debt into the line of credit, we'll be fine. So let's move these 5 credit cards. What was it, 102,000? 102,000? Wait, why did I put 149? I must be going insane. Yeah, I think it's 102,000. But let me confirm one more time. Okay, so 27 plus 30 plus 10 plus 35 plus 12. Wait, is it 114? 27, 30, 10, 35. Where did I get 109? I must be going insane. All right, so let's make this easy for ourselves. And then we'll make this 114. Okay, $114,000 in lines of credit. Is it really 114? Let me just calculate it one more time. So 27 plus 30 plus 10 plus 35 plus 35 plus 12. 114. Okay, so now this is what we do. We put our entire paycheck, the $8,500, into the line of credit, and then we take our expenses out. And then once this cash flow numbers increase, every single month we pay down our debt, right? So let's go ahead and increase this cash flow number. Let's zoom out a little bit so you can see at least the 5 credit cards. So you see this, whoopsie, see the 5 credit cards right here. And then, yeah, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Whoa, $3,775.80, right? $3,775.80. Well, that was so easy. That was so easy. How do we go from here to here? I don't know. Maybe I'm just making this all up. But man, I just love doing the Excel math because it is a form of stress relief, right? So maybe this is like ASMR math, right? 377.5.8. And you know, in ASMR math, you can hear the keyboard clicking. I don't know if you hear it. Sometimes I hear it and it used to bother me. It's like, oh no, people can hear the keyboard click. And I'm like, no, it's like ASMR for Excel. All right, so now let's go ahead and do that. And then copy and paste, and then, yeah. So how long does it take to pay off that credit card debt? Less than 3 years, 34 months. That's amazing. 34 months. So let's go ahead and do that. Put the milestone here. So 34 months, and it's 119K, right? 14K. 14K. All right. So if I do math wrong, it's because I just woke up, right? And well, okay. So the auto loan, we just go here, right? So now we'll just put the current month here, and this is 34. So we just put 34, 34, 34, 34, right? And we get the current balances. And if you know anything about cash flow index, anything under 50 is a good candidate to pay off to recover our cash flow. So let's go ahead and do that. So equals G2 plus G3, 22 grand. And plus 22142.44. And then now let's update our cash flow. So these two auto loans now go to 0. And then now our cash flow is 4,687.52. So let's go ahead and do that. Copy and paste it here, control paste, and then let me move this to the center. Okay, so I just replace this number 4687.52, and 39 months it's all paid off. Okay, so 161K paid off in a little bit over 3 years, not bad. And then now we got the student loan in 39 months. So let's just do this. Let's see, 39 months. So is it, oopsie, 0, 0, 39, 39. And so we have $40,000 of student loan left. Should we move into line of credit? Probably not, but because I'm lazy for this demonstration, again, I'd probably use a chunking method, but I always like to talk about more in the mortgage because it's more relevant that. But let's if you don't know what it is, just wait until I talk about the mortgage. Let's move this 40 grand into the line of credit. All right, so value right here plus 4642.1. All right, and then now we get an extra $600 in our cash flow for moving that 40 grand loan, and then $5,309. 5300.9. Okay. 47 months. See how easy that was? All right. So 47 months. Remember what isn't Matthew McConaughey goes like, all right, all right, all right, all right, right? So we paid off, everybody's like, student loans, I'm freaking out. Like, okay, we paid it off in 8 months because it's 47. And then you just want to know the debt payoff time is just this one minus this one, right? It's all about the focus of your money. So 161 plus 55, $216,000. And then here, let's just go here in 47 months. So $189,000, right? So here's the thing. If you move this whole thing into a line of credit, especially a lower interest rate loan, a lot of people out there with 3% loans, but they're still struggling with their cash flow because they had a lot of debt on top of that. And so they look at advice on the internet and they're like, well, I should get a first lien HELOC. You don't need to get a first lien HELOC. Why? If you replace this entire thing, let's say it was originally 3% with the 8% line or 10% line of credit, right? There's no cash flow. Is not enough cash flow to offset the interest difference versus other ways you can, even if you have a lower interest rate loan, right? So be careful about that. That's like the most dangerous thing. This is why the mortgage, I don't really like talking about velocity banking to pay off the mortgage, at least in the beginning, because we got to learn how to pay off the other debts. And this is true when you're a landlord as well. Like, when you become a landlord, there's a lot of risk with dealing with a tenant. And so if the tenant doesn't pay you, if all your personal debts are paid off, you'll be a lot, it's much easier to handle your finances than if the tenant, um, uh I'm sorry, what did I say? If the tenant doesn't pay you and you don't have any debt, a lot easier to handle the situation than if the tenant doesn't pay you and you do have debt. Like, we got to do things in the right order. Okay. So let's just do a quick comparison, right? So in 47 months, how much of the debt do we pay off? We paid off only about 11K. So let's move 11K into our line of credit. And this is what we call the chunking method, that when we've maximized our cash flow, we finally pay off the mortgage, and then we pay it off in little chunks, right? So how long did it take us to pay it off? Two months. Oh my goodness, it took us 2 months to pay off. Wow. It took us 47. Like, are you kidding me? Whoa, 2 months. My mind's blown, buddies, friends. Is your mind blown? Right? And then we just kind of do the same thing over and over again. Now, what is the optimal chunk amount? Honestly, it's not a big amount. It's just, a sizable amount similar to your paycheck so that you can focus all of your money to dump it into the line of credit. That's it. That's it. Right? And people are like, well, you could just directly pay extra payments, and that's true, but what percentage of the people actually does that, and isn't that the default option? Right? If that's the default option, why do so many people struggle with their cash flow? And the reason why they do that is because of income segregation. You don't want to segregate your income, right? So let's go ahead and whip out the velocity banking calculator. All right, so we whipped out the velocity banking calculator by Renatus, right? So if you don't know what Renatus is, it's where I originally learned velocity banking from, and I promote Renatus. One of the things or one of my goals is to promote Renatus in this channel because I'm an independent contracted marketer, meaning I get commission off of selling their product or reselling their product, right? So if you're interested in taking it to the next level and not only learning about velocity banking, but also about financial literacy and real estate investing, click the Google form link below. That's a quick plug. I do get commission, and so if you want to support the channel and you're like, yeah, I don't want to take classes, but I want to support you, click the Google form link below. Okay, so let's go ahead and well, we already typed in the numbers here. Now, here's the thing, okay? Because this interest rate is similar to the line of credit interest rate, if you did a first lien HELOC, I don't think it'd be that bad, right? So as you see here, we're doing like small chunks, so about 16 grand in interest. Let's see how much more in interest we pay. Only 5 grand more, right? So it's not that bad. But when you do like 3% to 8%, that's when it kind of becomes really bad, right? When there's a huge interest rate difference. But let's do this. Let's see what happens when you do a 30% credit card, right? I always tell you this, that if you do small chunks in a 30% credit card, you'll always beat a first lien HELOC. That's what a lot of people don't understand, right? So let's just do this. Wait, did I screw up? Oh, wait. Yeah, 21 grand, first lien HELOC. But if we do small chunks at 30%, then it's a little bit less, right? This has been my experience using this calculator created by Professor Randall or Teacher Randall. If you don't know who he is, look up Velocity Banking, Randall Renatus. Then he's the one who created this calculator. So shout outs to him, man. All right. So 2.8 years, it's paid off. with a 30% credit card. Well, let's not use that 8%. And you might want to use a 30% credit card because think about it. Like if you're passing $8,500 in a credit card, you get rewards points and stuff, and they might give you huge bonuses, and they're like, "You're spending so much, and then you're paying it off so quickly." It's like, I know, right? But again, I'm not saying you should do that. I'm just saying it's a possibility. So let's go back here, 2.8 years, and then what we do is we just do this: 47 divided by 12 plus 2.8. So 6.71 years, debt free. Awesome. And that's 416K. Whoopsie, not Kurt. I don't like Star Trek. Ooh, excuse me, burping. $416,000 of debt payoff. My goodness, that was so easy. That was so easy. $6,500. Remember the movie Dune where it's like the cash must flow? Actually, that's not real. I just made that up. But I wish the movie had said that. It was the spice must flow, but the cash must flow sounds better, right? But yeah, the cash must flow. And then this is when we start to have savings. So this is where like you can say, hey, I have 3 to 6 months of savings saved up because I just don't have any debt, right? You can kind of flex there. All right. So yeah, that's it for today. So, if you want to relieve the financial stress, go ahead and create your own velocity banking spreadsheets. But to be honest, very few people do. Although I have seen some people on the internet that I've sent this to upload their own version on and do their own YouTube videos. So good job there. All right, so that's it for today, everybody. It's Korean Atlanta Mentorship. It's a happy Saturday. We're gonna have a live stream at 10:30 a.m. Eastern about just learning and hanging out. Right, it's hanging out live stream. Just talk about whatever. And yeah, that's it for today. Have a great day.